Hey y'all, it's Kira,
John,
Rachel,
Caitlin,
Dave,
Hunter,
Jake,
Clara, and you're listening to the
Peercast,
Peercast, featuring the BA reps.
your one-stop shop for everything UMTAD.
Hey y'all, hello.
Hey.
Welcome to our
Yes.
10th episode of the Peercast.
Big 10.
Big 10. We are, I was going to say a decade old, and then that didn't make any sense. Wow.
Almost.
Great, but let me tell you, we have about a decade's worth of news today. There's a lot going on.
Yes, we do.
It's exciting stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, so wait, John, how are you today? How are you doing?
How am I? Oh,
Mhm.
I'm so tired. But here's the thing. We're doing okay. I just registered for arts management. I'm in the class. So if you're in the class, hit me up on Instagram. Be like, John, I'm in the class too. And I'll be like, ha 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 ha, I'm going to do better than you. Just kidding. I'm not that competitive. But kind of. Don't worry. It's all about collaboration. Just kidding. Oh my god. People are gonna hate me by the end of this. They're gonna be like, who is this man? Why is he speaking?
Oh, I'll
Can
play.
he stop?
I'll play.
Ah.
I'm glad you got in though. That's good news.
I know. I'm very excited. It's gonna be very, very fun. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like, the bomb threat, that was weird. That was wild.
I know. My question was why? Like who
Yeah.
and why?
And
Why?
why did it also only take them like 10 minutes just to like stop it? Not
I
to be like
know.
it should have taken longer or something, but like it
Well-
only took like 10 minutes before they were like, JK, like don't worry.
Let me tell you, Kira's not. Well, I did not plan this out very well. I drove a friend home from class, and we drove literally right past the stadium after that had come out because I just didn't plan that out very well, and that was just how to get to Dinkytown from Huron Boulevard, and there were like K9s going in, so I think they sniffed it out.
They really popped off and they said dogs go dogs go.
Here we are.
Also, what class were you coming from? Where are you on Huron?
Oh, I live over by like Prospect Park area ish, and so I take here like 94 and then get off on Huron from
West
Barker to my
Bank.
house.
Oh,
Yes.
you take the yeah. I get it. Yo comprendo. So then okay.
Yeah, and then
Actually,
she's
that
like,
makes
"Actually, I live in Dinkytown," and I was like, "Oh, should not have taken this way. Too late." But
yeah, that is
Here we
completely incorrect. If you want to,
I know. We're safe though. We're good.
Good.
All right. So, you guys, registration is upon us. It is happening. We are well into it. If you haven't registered or if you have some spots open in your schedule, Hunter found these classes that I just had to share with you because some of them are just wild and I had no idea. So there's an ice skating class at the U. You can take a scuba diving class at the U. There is a 5,000 level course called, Horse as Teacher. Horse as Teacher. You heard me right. I thought she was saying course as teacher, but no, it's horse as teacher. Also, we have a military science major. There's a beginning ukulele class. There's a beginning running class. You can train for a marathon in a marathon training class here at the U. Who knew? There's so many fun things. But another fun thing that is also relevant, Barbara is she's teaching a class on movement therapies through the Center of Spirituality next semester. And it's actually really cool. So it's a 2-credit class that happens for 2 Fridays and 2 Saturdays during spring semester. There's a couple in February and then a couple in March. And the course will explore selected, embodied, somatic, body, and movement-based approaches for healing and well-being. And you don't need any extensive background in movement to participate whatsoever. So definitely, I'm excited to check that one out. That seems really, really cool. Also, just as a reminder, Katie sent out an email, and this definitely applies to BAs. I'm not sure if it applies university-wide or throughout UMTAD, but the pass-fail option for major courses is not an option for the spring. So make sure that you keep that in mind as you envelop, or as you, I don't know, I was going to say some fancy words, but as you take your classes.
That's very, very fair, very, very fair. It is for campus wide. Like if you're majoring in it, you gotta take it A through F, unless like the class is only offered SN. Yeah, I had to find that out because your boy has like, as you know, like 5 majors and a minor, and you all have to be A through F, and it's just
it's a lot.
You gotta work hard. It's a lot of work. But we are now gonna go into a little recap of the call-in culture workshop that we had. Super, super fun. So it was a collaboration with UMTAD and UMTAD's Arts Engagement Hub. It was an introduction to the Chicago Theater Standards by Laura Fisher, one of its primary authors, y'all. So they went ahead and learned how it seeks to be pro everybody, pro performer, pro choreographer, pro director, pro designer, pro union, etc. It seeks to not call out members of our community, but to call in, to mentor and create procedures to improve conditions with spaces, use it, and awareness in standards for all who read it. So it's inspired to create rehearsal policies to reflect these ideas within our own department. So this call-in culture workshop really popped off. It's really doing great things, and be excited for some of the changes that are going to be coming to sort of better our collaboration as artists, as well as just better our, own personal safety and comfortability in our spaces as we explore things together as a department.
Absolutely. All right, and big thanks too to ATD and Doug Schultz Carlson and Telvin for making that happen. That was really, really incredible. So there are some Northrop engagements happening this week. So the dance program is actually doing a masterclass with Andrea Miller. Holy smokes, that's so cool. Just another shout out for her company Galeem, which is premiering their filmed version of their show Boat this Thursday, which will be streamed through Northrop. The tickets are only $10 for students. And actually, you guys, Dance Magazine gave Northrop a shout out for this premiere, which is a huge thing. That's so cool. And also just keep in mind too, Ben Stamper, who is a collaborator on the show, is doing happy hour the day before, so tomorrow, Wednesday, from 5 to 6. And that is free and open to the public and sounds like an incredible conversation to be a part of.
Yes, be excited, be excited. All right. Also, something to be excited about. Y'all better come to our Liquid Hour this Friday at 5:30 because Liquid Hour is going to be bumping. It's one of the last ones we're doing this semester. So make sure you come say hi to your fellow Taddiers. Taddians? We got to come up. You know what? We got to come up with a name for us as folks.
Warriors. No.
Like I know we have the what is it, the Raric Rascals and the Parker Bandits. We gotta have like a big one all together, like the Tad Utilitarians. No, that's a bad one. Don't even. Gross.
That's okay. That's better than what I was gonna say. I was gonna say the Tad Umbrellas, and that's not. It's not even a thing. So.
What? That'd be wild. That'd be wild.
Just out here.
Oh my God, we sound like a failed sports team. Is that theater? The Ted Umbrella.
That would be such a fun mascot, actually. The umbrella. Think of what the cheerleading team could do. That would be so sweet. Okay.
They just do singing in the rain, the Glee version, the MASH. Oh my God. Arts Quarter like every single year. That's what we do.
Yes, please. I would sign up.
I already did it. What are you talking
about? Great. Also, y'all, we plugged this a couple of times before, but Carl Flanks, the dance department head, his TED Talk is up now and you can view it. It's only 10 minutes long, and I literally Googled Carl Flank TED Talk and it came right up. And it's his company, Black Label Movement, and they did a piece called Dance versus PowerPoint, a Modest Proposal. Check it out. It's really cool. And there's physical touch. If you're craving to see people actually hold hands, this is where you can go to see it. It's not a reality anymore. Hey, did you know that, what's that super, super really popular drama? It's
Grey's
not a
Anatomy.
no, nope, nope, nope. It's
This Is Us.
This Is Us. Their new season, everyone's wearing masks.
Ooh, real. It's real.
Yeah, isn't
Huh.
that crazy?
That's very crazy.
Yeah,
That's real. I always
fun
kind of
fact.
assume that the the things that the shows that they're gonna be creating right now just have enough money for like daily testing and like so I feel like they're just like it's fine. Like we know they don't, but that's super
Right.
cool and super fun.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Also, the name of a modest proposal that always is very interesting to me because I I always think of
Hmm.
the like Jonathan Swift article that it's I mean it's like a poli-sci sociology like child like it's just the cream of the crop, not really, but it's just always used as like a you ever remember like learning about like satire in high school or anything?
Yeah, well, I came from a very small town school, so no, but yes,
That's fair. That's
eventually.
fair. I don't know. Like it's like it's like a document used to like literally explain what satirical like essays are.
Oh.
And like because this man, Jonathan Swift, he like essentially offers a proposal to like fix our economic
Mm.
standing. And this is like back in the day of like 1898, I don't know, some olden time, but he's like, all right, so we don't have enough money to feed everyone. So hear me out. What if we eat our babies?
Oh no. Oh no.
It's this it's this very seriously written thing where he's like, yeah, so instead of having to feed the children, we could just eat them until we're good enough to then have more children. And then also, we never run out of food that way because all we have to do is have more children. So, and I mean, it's wild. It's absolutely hilarious.
I know it's satire, but my stomach's a little queasy at that image right now.
Exactly. That
Wow.
was the whole point. Honestly, someone should create a piece based on Amana's proposal. I feel like that'd be a great creative collab.
Mm.
I should have proposed that. I should have proposed that.
Dang, it's a little too late now. Season selection committee is they're in the process of reading all of the proposals and narrowing
Mm-hmm.
down the plays. It's so exciting, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a mid semester report from the season selection committee that you can view on our peers website if you're interested in looking at those notes and a summary of what we talk about in those meetings. It's a very, very comprehensive document that Sonia Kuftinek put together, and you can find it super easy on Rachel's website.
Yes. Look at that transition I built in. um, all right. Also, y'all make sure that you're excited for open mic night, sponsored by the Minnesota Dance Club. Meaning like the dance club that's here on campus. They're put on by a group in a project management class here in the U as well. So it's gonna be December 4th from 7 to 9 p.m. Performance can go ahead and sing, dance, do some stand-up if you think you're funny, read poetry, or much, much more. Whatever you can really think of, you can do here. So you can go ahead and contact them through their Instagram at UMN Open Mic or email umnopenmic@gmail.com. So make sure you check that out because I know y'all got some talent, like a little bit.
A lot of it.
um,
A lot of it.
I guess a lot of it is a lot of it is talent. Make sure you go ahead and show the world.
For sure. Another thing to keep in mind, especially if you are in Talvin's playwriting class or just a playwright not in his class, there are some Playwright Center fellowship programs that are open till the end of this week. So the Jerome Fellowship and the Many Voices Fellowship and the Co-Writer Program, which you can all find on the Playwright Center website, is they're open, they're taking applications. And so the Many Voices Mentorship is another program aside from these three that is designed for beginning BIPOC playwrights in Minnesota who may not have previous playwriting experience, but who are interested in exploring the medium to develop their skill through the Playwright Center, which is an incredible, incredible opportunity. So the deadline is coming up through this Thursday, but there is no application fee, and you can access them again on their website or by contacting Julia Brown at juliab@pwcenter.org.
Yes, lovely. Also, if you're in Talvin's playwriting class, you could do a reading of your play that you may have been writing so far at the open mic night. Yeah, think about
Truth.
that. Think about
Truth.
that, right? I'm trying to hear some new plays.
Crossroads.
It's me working on my capstone, just being like, here's my capstone. It's okay. No one will ever see that.
Oh
um,
no. Oh no. I will see that.
oh no, it's gonna be so ugly. I can already feel it, but
Yeah,
we're gonna graduate.
no.
We're gonna graduate. All right. Next up, y'all, it's about that time of our podcast. Next up, we have our interview with HIJACK. So HIJACK is the creative collaboration of Kristin Van Loon and Arwen Wilder. Van Loon and Wilder each grew up in Chicago, and they met at Colorado College and established a collaboration in Minneapolis in 1993. HIJACK's roots in a liberal arts setting isolated in the mountains laid the foundation for experimentation, invention without precedent, and making dance out of everything but dance. So they specialize in the inappropriate. HIJACK is best known for short shorts, pop song length miniatures designed to deliver a sharp shock. Over the last 25 years, they have created over 100 dances and performed in venues ranging from proscenium to barely legal. The duo has taught and performed in Japan, Russia, Central America, Ottawa, Chicago, Colorado, New Orleans, Seattle, San Francisco, Philadelphia, New York, Austin, and Maine. In Minneapolis, HIJACK enjoys long relationships with Bedlam Theatre as regulars at Romps, Red Eye collaborations as part of their critical core, Zenon Dance School, Wednesday morning Contact Improv class since 2000 has been offered by them, and Bryant Lake Bowl as well. They teach a number of classes here at the U, including in non-COVID times, Contact Improvisation, and just filmed their UDT piece earlier this month. So be excited. And here we are with Arwen and Kristin. Hey, y'all.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Arwen. Hey, Kristin.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We are so excited to have a conversation with you in the next half an hour, 45 minutes. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for asking us.
Of course. And Kristin, I don't know if you heard, I'm Kira. I took an improv class with you a couple years ago, and so it's been a while, but it's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. And John, have we danced together before?
I don't believe so, but I would love to. I mean, that sounds lovely.
All right. Well, how are you both today? How are you doing? How are you feeling today in this moment right now?
How long do we have? How many can we go through here? I'll just say one thing, which is that Arwen and I, did we truly have our first rehearsal in person together since the pandemic started? Oh, is Arwen still there?
Oh no.
So now you're gonna see simultaneously the range of our emotions. So having to deal with finding Wi-Fi, that might be a low on a typical day. And high is that we did just rehearse together in the same room for the first time since March, I think.
Wow.
And that was euphoric.
I believe it. It's been a long time since March. Holy smokes.
Yeah. So I'm going to let Arwen get situated. And that's also to say that, we'll all get used to the rhythm of y'all interviewing like a co-authoring collaboration. Everything is both like two answers and a together answer. It's like at least three answers to every question.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
How has Wi-Fi access been for each of you the last several months? I'm finding it's a challenge for some students in class.
Yeah. So luckily I actually, especially now I work in housing, so I'm a community advisor, so I get to have some pretty decent Wi-Fi that I don't have to pay for, but I also was at an apartment for like a little bit there too. And it wasn't necessarily fun to pay for internet. I do have to say I'm excited for bills. Eventually. I already pay them now, but like I don't want to.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's been a lot better since I've been able to do that, but it is kind of definitely hard to, and I always feel like whenever you have internet problems, it's always like during that good, important,
I
like for
know.
you to, right? It's like the breakthrough is finally there, and all of a sudden it's like,
Right.
so
Your
it's
connection
kind
is
of,
unstable. Nothing
you're
worse
like,
than that
no,
message. Nothing
no.
worse.
Arwen, I don't know if you heard, but we were just kind of chit-chatting about Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Well, Kristin was just telling us that you had your first in-person rehearsal since, was it March, since everything started?
Yes. And that said, we've danced together a lot, but using Zoom, or one time when it was warm out, we performed an old piece and rehearsed it with Kristin inside and me outside, and we danced like with a piece of plate glass between us. We made a piece at the U in person in the studio together for that. But in terms of the two of us dancing together, this was the first one. And we've been working together. We met in college, and so I don't think we've ever, since we met in January of 1990, I don't think we've ever gone that long without touching and dancing in the same room.
Yeah.
Even when I was like pregnant and having babies, we didn't go that long.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What and Kristin, you used the word euphoric, and I can only imagine like what that, just the connection of that energy, force kind of finally coming together. I mean, Zoom is such an incredible tool, but of course we miss that element of performance and rehearsal and creation.
It's also really intense, though, because, I mean, if you pay attention to the news at all, things are not safer than they were in March. More and more people have it. And so rehearsing together doesn't look anything like what it used to look like. We were masked and we stayed apart. And we talked a lot before we even started moving about, we talked before we even were in the same room. And then again today, it's like the consent check-ins need to be thorough and constant right now in order to stay safe. And I keep hoping that it will be really good practice. And when we're done with this, everyone will be fantastic at consent conversations.
Yeah, it's interesting because consent technique was something that was really a high priority before the pandemic. And it was a different thing. We teach contact improvisation at the U, and that Me Too, the Me Too movement in part, I think sparked a lot of conversation and awareness around what was not very highly developed in the practice of that. And so we were working on that, and then actual contact just stopped. But we're exercising that technique again, like you said, Arwen.
That's amazing. And was that something that you got to continue developing as you set your piece for UDT? Was it just a couple of weeks ago that you set and filmed it, right?
Yeah, about like a month.
I feel like the agreements and the rules were in that case were set by the department and the program. though I know that there was a lot of question. There was some back and forth with the students. Would people perform in masks or not? And I always think I'm always excited when the students stand up for their safety and their own bodies. I feel like the culture of dancers being told to sacrifice their bodies for the choreographer's vision is an unhealthy legacy of the dance world, that it's awesome to be able to watch that being dismantled. So I was really proud that the students said that they wanted to be masked, and that whole conversation happened before we even stepped in the door for rehearsals.
Yeah.
I have a general question. We're talking so much about COVID, and obviously that is like front on in my mind and on everybody's mind, but I'm curious about the scope. What all are you interested in talking about today?
Absolutely. Okay, so I love how your work focuses on this question of juxtaposition and dichotomies that can exist together. And I would love to, if you'd like to discuss that right away. How did you get to that point? Because I feel like it's such a gift to give to audiences, to be like, these two perspectives, these two values, these two people can exist in the same space without being, more valued than the other per se. And maybe the way I'm phrasing it is different than maybe your philosophy, but I'm curious how you got to that, how you arrived to that place, because it is so easy, especially now in such a polarized world, to claim a team as your own and to kind of stick to that team, right? And so
first of all, I want to thank you for doing a little research and speaking back to us some of the words we've used. That makes me feel good.
Oh, good, of course.
And in the spirit of the values you were talking about, I'm sure you're going to get at least a couple answers to that. Do you have something on the tip of your tongue, Arwen?
Sure. Yeah. I can say that collaboration is at the very center of everything we do. And what is interesting in collaboration is not necessarily agreement. Otherwise, if I wanted always to get my own way, then I should just make work by myself. But what I get from having a collaborator who can disagree with me is multiple opinions. And it's very hopeful to hash those out and talk about them a lot in rehearsal, and believe that we can come to either to some kind of agreement or to finding that those things can exist. Like you said it, we're in what is being named a very polarized country and perhaps a very polarized world. It's very idealistic to believe that people with different opinions or different things can possibly exist together. It's the only way to imagine that there's any kind of survival. But also, it's not just political, it's aesthetically interesting. When you have things occurring simultaneously that don't seem like they could fit together, then the audience is asked to participate, because they're not being preached at. They're not being told, this is the story, this is the way it is. They're being given these two things, and they get an opportunity then to say, what am I seeing? How can these things be together? What are these things? Do they exist in the same world? And figure that out in their own minds and bodies and hearts. And so it's about their participation, and also believing like that sometimes you can't see what something is unless you see something that seems to be an opposite of it, or that seems to be very different from it. And that difference allows you to look at something, otherwise you wouldn't actually be able to see what it is.
Nice. I was struck by the part of your question you're asking, like, how do we develop towards or find that over time? And I realized that maybe what we've done is resist losing what our original condition was. So we went all the way through college, not collaborating, and we watched each other make single authored dances and admired each other and kind of inched in towards collaboration. And I think about what happens in a dancer's body, that it's the tendency to smooth out rough edges and make transitions flow so you can't feel where one distinct thing ends and the next begins. Like, that's actually valued in dance quite a bit, and what tends to happen over time. And like the word juxtaposition, you have like one arbitrary move made over here and another arbitrary move made over there, and then you slap them together, and if you rehearse that day after day, like, they kind of smear into each other and kind of synthesize. And so I don't know, that's in a way an analogy for what's happening with our like imaginations and impulses on all levels, conceptually and physically. And so, again, using the metaphor of what happens with movement in the body, like, we develop a lot of tricks to keep things rough at the transition, and distinct things colliding into each other instead of smearing into one mushy kind of consensus slurry thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like feel like I'm getting a lot of like, y'all explore like this sort of like harmony through collision, or like a harmony at collision. I think that's a really, really cool. How, I don't know if this is like a weird question, but I like to see like very much so a person who like solid like steps, you know what I mean? So like I want to know, like, you don't have to give me solid steps or anything, but I want to like, walk me through, if you can, like just like one of your pieces or something that you've created, like how did that happen? Like I would love to see that sort of like unfold before our eyes here, or our ears, for the listeners.
I wonder if we can recall, Arwen, just how we made Testing for Done.
I was thinking that too. That's the piece that we made for the youth students just a couple of weeks ago. I'm glad you asked this, and you're likely, we'll tell you. And I say it like that because process is really interesting to us. And so we often make these kind of layered, complicated ways of making things. And partly, again, that goes back to collaboration. If you're just working by yourself, you can just kind of go on your gut. But if you have to articulate to another person what you're doing, you have to make up a lot of structures for how you make things. And so we've done that partly to survive collaboration, but also partly to survive having a dance career this long. Like, how do you stay interested? How do you keep making things that are new and not just regurgitating the things that you think worked or were fun or something. And so we've structures for making have become a major signature, I guess. I can say that that I'm trying to stop being so theoretical and just be like, you said you want solid steps. So we described, we wanted them to make up a bunch of moves from which we would make the dance. But I don't like to just be told, make up some moves. There's too many moves in the world. How do you decide what move you would ever do? So we gave them a very specific ritual to do, which was to move, to go to 3 different locations and to imagine that they are a filmmaker and that their body is the camera, and they turn their camera on and they record whatever they're doing, and then they turn the camera off. And then their job is to remember what was made when the camera was on, as if it was recorded, as if it was etched onto film. And the 3 locations help, because the way memory works, it's often spatial. The 3 locations help the dancer remember, more like a camera, but also they help to inspire different kinds of movement. Like what you would do in your own apartment would be different than what you might do in the dance studio, might be different than what you would do on the bridge between the sides of the campus or something. So that's step 1, just to get some moves. I'll pass it off.
On the very first day, we had 4 dancers we worked with, and we sent them, all of us, I think, did it, or we sent them off to select an object and to have a rich sensory experience with that object in a private way. No one watched anyone. So, so this is audio only. I'm like rubbing a pen on my cheek and like grinning, I'm feeling it through my skin, and I'm smelling it, and I'm listening to it, and just to really go to that other place. And then we perform is a weird word. We revealed to each other, we gave each other an opportunity to witness what that research looked like. And that was a real curveball thing to do on the first day. And I think the intention was to maybe have all of us feel the end point of just how strange and devaluing looking pretty this dance might be. And boy, oh boy, I've got to just give the dancers a lot of credit. It was like a big risk moment, and it was like a trust building moment. We did that early on, and this piece moved very fast. So we did that the first day. We sent them off on their own the second day to do the ritual Arwen described. And then I'll just add one more thing, which is they came back with that material, and we had them play it out in many, many conditions. It's kind of like doing various kind of stress tests on the material, learning how to keep the integrity of the original version of the material and to resist smoothing out the rough edges. There was a lot of that going on.
And that, I mean, we could go more step by, go on to how it became a piece, but I think just the stuff that we've said already is kind of an example of, we had 4 dancers that were given to us. They ended up being fantastic, and I loved every one of them and was really glad for them, but we didn't choose them, and they didn't necessarily, some of them didn't know each other and had never danced together or been in a room together, and their styles were pretty different. Their training was fairly different. And it was not our interest to make them dance like us or to make a piece that was the piece that we would dance. The interest was to make the piece that they would dance because they were the dancers, and to figure out again, like, okay, well, there's this move and how can those moves be in the same dance when they were made in very different locations with people who have different priorities about what's important in a move.
I love how you both talk about not smoothing the rough edges and going against this idea of looking pretty, because I feel like so much of life is rough edges and it doesn't look pretty, and so much of a lot of dance styles is that fluid, looking to not even have a transition because it's all a transition, right? And I'm curious because it's such another gift to give your dancers this non-agenda, right, walking in the door. And I'm curious if the piece if it had any sort of commentary or story to it, or if it was just an existence in a space with 4 people. I'm curious kind of how the piece moved as it developed.
I can say one thing, which is, so the process was a little less than 2 weeks, which is an incredibly short amount of time. On our own, we'll often take maybe 4 to 12 months to make a piece. And that's to give ourselves a lot of time between each studio session to just live and think and percolate in the imagination. So I think we got through a handful of days, maybe even half of the days we had, and we were in crisis. Like, we set ourselves up not knowing, we wanted to discover the piece in the making. And we felt, oh no, this material is great, but there's nothing to hang your hat on. And so we had to quickly build a hook to hang our hats on. And one of those things was to begin and then stop and go back and begin again, and stop and go back and begin again and stop. So that was something that emerged about halfway through.
And that what that creates, especially with some long pauses, is a question of what are our options from here? We know it starts like this, and what might happen next. And Kristin mixed a sound score that had the lyric over and over again, "Oh, what will happen? Oh, what will happen?" And that, along with the beginning, along with the fact that it was being made pre-election during pandemic, I would say it was not just an abstract piece with those moves from the dancers, but it became a very tense expression of this moment. And we at the U, we teach improvisation and we teach composition. And sometimes people think that maybe all we do is perform contact improvisation, and actually we make a lot of set work, but we also pretty much everything we make these days has some amount of set stuff and some amount of improvised, even if it's an approach or something like that. And why I'm talking about that right now in this context is because when you ask your dancers to improvise and you practice being very present in the moment with an object or with a space or with each other, with your own body, you are inviting in the present moment, the political moment, the light, like all of that. You're inviting in everything about the environment. And some of those things are less emotionally loaded and some of them are more emotionally loaded, like the pandemic and the election. And that is, not just are they wearing masks, and so we're reminded of that, but everything about the way they were they were choosing things in the moment, and we were asking them to bring their whole selves and their context into the room with us, as opposed to a different thing where you say, this is the studio and we leave that behind and we get to do this other ritual together, which has a different kind of exciting value.
Yeah, again, I keep using the word gift, but it so is, right? And you mentioned too this combination of set work and contact improvisation. And for anyone who's listening who doesn't know what contact improvisation, so Steve Paxton started it in the 70s, right? And it was this idea of balance and counterbalance and listening and discovering the mechanics of the body and how to get to know people beyond the physical through the physical. And it's such an incredible tool that I'm so thankful to have in my dancer tool belt. And I'm so I just get so excited about it. And I'm curious because and this is totally my paradigm, but you've met Steve and like Nancy Stark Smith, and in my paradigm, you both serve as such pioneers in Minneapolis of contact improvisation, and I'm curious if what that feels like to bring this style to the city and to this university, and if there's a sense of maybe not responsibility, but ownership of that style and what that is, or if it's kind of become your own practice and you're teaching, your paradigm of this practice.
That it was so beautiful to have you give this the little bit of history and synopsis of contact improv. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a little contrarian and say there are a lot of amazing people supporting the contact improvisation scene in Minneapolis. We really are just two. A lot of people are holding and sharing the form. There's like a long history, even from the beginning of Steve coming here, the university helping sponsor like mini festival in the first decade of the form called Dance as Art Sport, happened on the campus in like the 80s, I think. And a lot of people also teach it and are leaders nationally and take care of a jam when we're able to do contact improv, not during a pandemic. So that's one answer.
I also kind of heard you asking about if it had become our own form, or if, like, how much, because we have studied with the inventors and the early developers, how much do we hold on to that lineage, and how much has it developed into something of our own? And that's a really fun thing to talk about in contact improvisation, because there was a moment where they talked about codifying contact improvisation and making it something that had a training form, and you had to get have your license or whatever to teach it. And they really decided to go a different way. And what was cool about that was it was an anti-capitalist move to say nobody owns this and it gets to keep developing. And what is complicated about it is that lots of people can teach it lots of different ways. And sometimes those can be awesome ways, and sometimes it can be problematic. And I could teach just about anything and call it contact improvisation because there isn't anyone policing that. And we continue to go back and study with the people who we think of as our mentors, and we continue to make up new versions of things and believe that we're developing and changing things, learning from the current situation as we're teaching and working.
I think also some of the kind of like key values of it are what we carry forward as much as the form and forms inside of contact improv. So like we're both kind of sciencey people, and so just it being an experimental form, like two bodies and gravity, what happens? Let's like stick around to find out what happens instead of predetermining what the outcome is. And also the value of absolute beginners and people with a ton of dance training. Dancing together is always a great thing. That's like a fundamental value in contact improvisation, and something we try to keep alive in our regular experience. Arwen mentioned that we still stay connected with our teachers and mentors. And one thing that has been absolutely delicious during the pandemic is we dance a couple times a week over Zoom, and on the regular are seeing Steve and Danny Lepkoff and Karen Nelson and Lisa Nelson. And that's been this odd gift of this time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible what kind of opportunities and what kinds of people you can work with, because we're all available a lot more now. All right. We for sure have one more question that we ask everyone. But before we do that one, I have a question that I particularly want to ask the both of you. So we really try to encourage students to reach out to professors and students as future collaborators because of the opportunity of collaboration post, graduation. And I'm curious if you have any encouragement or advice for students who are maybe hesitant to reach out to their peers or their mentors and maybe don't know how to approach that situation or don't know what words to say. And because you've been collaborating together for 30 years now, right? Since college. And so I'm curious if you have any tips and tricks for that.
Great question.
I have two thoughts right away. One is that when people approach us and say that they like our work and are interested in dancing with us, we are always flattered. That's amazing. And the more research if they can say like, oh, I saw this specific piece, if they can be more specific, then we're even more flattered. I've never had someone come up to me and say, oh, I'd like to work with you, and had anything other than being thrilled and amazed. And we take that we had an experience a long time ago where we gathered together all of the people who we thought were the very best dancers in the Twin Cities and tried to make a piece with them. And it was terrible. It was so because they were so busy. We could never rehearse. We had all these people, but we could hardly even make a dance because they were so busy. And we decided after that piece we were never going to do that again. And we'd much rather have people who are really desperately excited to dance with us that we can actually get into a studio and work with. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is when we moved here from college, what we did was find some people whose aesthetics we were interested in, who also seemed to be like newly out of college or maybe still in college or something. And we just danced together a ton. We made all these structures so that we could be in the same room. We made dances on each other and we practiced teaching each other class so that we could learn how to be teachers. And we just practiced and practiced and we logged so many hours just working together to try to figure out how to make a dance and how to work with other people and how to have a dance career. And we just figured it all out by being in a room together.
Yes. I'll also say store this bit of advice for after the vaccines and everything. But one thing that's really key is just showing up, going to the classes and going to the shows and going to the talks and going to art openings. And Minneapolis is a small enough scene, so I would definitely advise checking out art outside of dance. And just being together in a room and the little chit chat that happens around things is how relationships happen. So when we can do that again, do a lot of that. Show up.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. And okay, so our final question is a little melodramatic.
It's my favorite thing. I love it, though. The drama is what I live for. All right. So, the final question. Really, it's the first question, too, if you really think about it, but that's a lot. The final question is, why dance? Why?
I have one quick answer. I bet there are a lot of answers, Arwen. Is that cool if I jump in?
Yes.
Dance, because dance is hard. I think it's really hard to make a good dance. There are very few really good choreographies, dances. That's one answer.
I have kind of a bratty answer. Like, what isn't dance?
Another answer is the body. Like, it's a super risky material, rich material to be working with. Mysterious. Dying. I also like being part of a time-based art. I think it's really hard, like the fleeting nature of it.
It's efficient to be able to make art and get your exercise at the same time. It feels good. It's good for your body.
It's eco-friendly. You don't have to use a lot of plastic and put it in landfills. Did we get them all, Arwen?
We never have to worry about what to do if we get rich.
That's a good one.
That's a
That's
really
the
good
best
one.
Yeah, we don't really have to make the decision, oh, do we do that project that'll get us rich, even though we don't really believe in it? Like, that question just doesn't come up in dance.
Fair.
Beautiful. Well, thank you both so much again. This was so lovely. And Kristin, you mentioned feeling grounded by the Zoom, and I just am leaving the Zoom feeling so grounded. And thank you for that.
That was really fun.
It was fun. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for being here and popping off and living your best life. It's always really fun to see and experience.
All right. We will see you in real time and space sometime, I hope.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, have a good one, y'all.
All right,
You
thanks,
as
you
well.
too.
Goodbye.
Living your best life.
All right. Thank y'all so much. That was so fun, Kira.
It was amazing. What beautiful people. They're incredible.
Oh my God. Honestly, I needed that energy today. They're just so wholesome, so sweet. Just like so, and also I really appreciate that they actually. I'm feeling I'm such a type A person sometimes, where I'm like, just give me some steps. Like because I can vibe with the concepts. I'm like, oh, that's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I also love structure. That's my life. Structure, great. GCal, best friend. So that energy was great.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to our artist profile of the week, y'all, and y'all better be excited. So our artist profile of the week, you've probably heard of her. If you haven't, honestly, what you doing? But our artist profile of the week is Rachel Ann Breeze. So Rachel, she enjoys stories that center queer characters' mental health and the complexities of family relationships. She is currently working towards her BA in theater and music at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. She's also an audio technician and sound designer for countless shows of the U here. And she also edits this very podcast. So that's pretty freaking cool. She also sound design for This Is Where We Go at MCC Theater, or the Miscast. That's where Miscast Cabaret Theater. That's where all the Broadway
In
stuff,
New York City. Yeah.
like really cool, fun stuff happens. She's mentioned in the show's Broadway World article, which like wild, y'all. Like we love that. Look at our queen popping off at all points in time. We didn't even know she did this, y'all. That's how freaking cool she is. She pops off silently and just like will come back, and we're all of a sudden like, what? It's so cool. Also with that, she's a USITT member. She was a sound department intern for a good old company named Children's Theater Company. I'm not sure if you've heard of it or anything like that, but she's really popping off here. General Queen, just we love her so much. This is why she deserved this artist profile of the week. So check out her work.
And this is, oh my gosh, a moment in history. This is only the beginning of Rachel Breeze. Y'all, this is a really cool moment in history that we're witnessing right here.
It really truly is. Like Rachel in like 2 years and be all famous, like, and I'd be like, hey, do you remember when I gave you a shout out on the Peercast that you edited one time? She'd be like, who are you? I'm sorry, who are you? I'm like, I don't know who I am.
No, we were just talking to, like, Rachel's so real. I mean, she's so just down to earth, genuine, really, and she loves when people email her. So if you don't know her, give her an email just to say hey, because she loves it, and you'll love knowing her.
True.
For sure. So for our student shout out of the week, kind of part two, we have the magnificent, the wonderful, the incredible Lila Sell, who is here to tell us about her TAD journey. Hey, Lila.
Hello, my name is Lila Sell. I use she, her pronouns. I am majoring in entrepreneurship management, public and nonprofit management, and theater arts with a focus in design tech. I'm really focused on production management, general arts administrative work. I've done a bit of lighting and stage management and just exploring the world of design tech. I think when describing fundamentally why I'm doing this and what I want to do is I just want to help people create art that means something to them and to the world, and that will have impact and is interesting. So yeah, I think that's really why I'm here, and what I hope to keep doing. So some favorite things from my time here in UMTAD. I worked in Light Lab the past 2 years. I've learned a lot about lights. I really love working with my fellow undergrads and labbies, and getting to know the grad students has been really cool. Also, UDT last year was really fun to work on. I got to assistant stage manage. It was a really fun, cool process. So yeah, something that's bringing me joy right now. Rachel Breeze, the editor of this glorious podcast and my good friend, has been a great person to see and hang out with in this time. And also just listening to Miley Cyrus's cover of Heart of Glass has been a really good vibe. It's really good. Check it out. It's on Spotify. So I guess plugs for myself. I have an Instagram. It's not that interesting, but it's at Lila, Lila, Sell, 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 like you're selling something. I guess thank you so much for having me on. Love to everyone who listens to this podcast. I'm sorry, Rachel, if this sucks to edit. And John, I will see you in arts management. I'm very excited for that class. All right, goodbye.
Yes. Thank you, Lila. All right, look, I also better be seeing you in that arts management class. I know you also wanted to pop off in there with me, so we got this together. We're gonna do amazing. So get excited for it. Get excited. All right. So this week we have a question for you. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I?
What am I? What am I? So, be the first person to give us an Insta story shout out, or you can direct message us on Instagram too at the UMTAD Peers Instagram, and we will give you an extra special shout out next week.
Just know.
Let us know. Let us know. I have cities but no houses, mountains no trees, water no fish.
What am I?
What am I?
All right, lovely. So, last but not least, we have some closing thoughts for you all. Register, y'all. Registration is coming up. I literally just did it right now in this podcast. I registered. So
that's truth.
You better be registering too. If I gotta do it, you gotta do it too. Also come to Liquid Hour. We love you and we want to say hi. Maybe we can see if we have classes together. I know everybody wants to be in class with me. Extra special one coming up here though. So here's some really exciting news, y'all. Miho Kobayaka will be returning next semester.
Hallelujah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
We have a great plan for this re-entering of Mihal and for theater history. And we can't disclose that information because it's not allowed. But let me tell you, the vision is there.
Oh, are we talking about my plan?
Yeah.
Oh, my plan? Oh, y'all, the plan. The plan is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Maybe here's the thing. Well, we talked about the plan on this recording, so maybe we can get whoever enters that riddle correctly, we can maybe get you a little sneak peek of the plan.
Sneak peek of the plan.
Which means you got pop off.
It's a great incentive.
All right. Now,
for our wise words of the week, we have the amazing Clara Marsh here to give us her wisdom. Clara, hello.
This one's a little cheesy, but I like it. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you once thought you couldn't.
This episode of the Purecast is edited by Rachel Breeze, programmed by Hunter Batterson and Caitlin McLean, and our music is composed by Raymond New.
Contact Improvisation and just filmed their UDT piece earlier this month. Not earlier this month. Get me out, Kira. What is that?
A little UDT, a little Zenon Dance School, a little Christmas shopping.
Why am I like this? I did it so well.
Yeah, you did.
The literal last word. I'm so mad at myself.